Welcome, everyone. I hope you all had a great weekend and will have a successful week moving forward. I want to bring up that something I always talk about, and that is that the Fairfield Public Library is a sponsor of one-on-ones with Ann Wright. So Ann is a coach. She's been in HR. She's been running a workshop there in live times for a good number of years, and then giving a talk of her preference, and then beginning about 10:40 or so in normal times, she begins one-on-ones. So she's doing one-on-ones by phone. The way you sign up for a slot is to email Claudia Silk. So that's the letters C, S-I-L-K, at fplct.org, Fairfield Public Library, Connecticut.org. Okay, and so if there's something about your resume, about a cover letter, about LinkedIn that you would like to discuss through, she's a great person to speak with. This week, tomorrow night, the Northern Fairfield Professionals is going to meet. Okay, so I don't know how many of you are on their mailing list. They're having, Don Whitman is going to tear apart a few LinkedIn profiles. To find out if there's space, if you're interested, send me an email. Okay, I think it's Mary at CP, I forget what it is offhand, but if you want to go, it starts at, I believe, around 6 o'clock tomorrow in the evening, Northern Fairfield Professionals. Okay. Does anybody have any other events that they've heard about that's, oh, of course, I have to mention Pat, Thursday nights at 7:45. She does a really good show. I think a lot of you are already on there. Again, if not, then you can email me and then I can send you the link information. Okay. So, does anybody have anything else that they want to share before we go into the introductions?
Yeah, Howard, I put a link to the Slack community in the chat. So if you haven't joined, please join. Great place to ask questions. We're trying to do more of our notifications there instead of through Yahoo email.
Okay.
Yeah. Second question. Where could we save this chat given if it won't save?
Okay, so Budley said that it's going to be saved automatically in a couple of different spots.
That's correct.
Okay, so that'll be made available, and we'll mention that again, maybe at the end of the program, so that people will have that in their minds fresh, ready to go.
Sorry for the redundancy.
Okay, excellent. So I like to do this alphabetically because then I could keep track of some of the people who I need to reach out after. Is Rob Adams here? Okay, we'll skip me for the moment. Is Rachel Bassick here? Okay, I did see Barry Bear. So Barry, tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe 30 to 60 seconds, something like that, real quick.
Sure. Hi, Howard. Good to be back to your Monday group. Haven't been here for a few weeks. So my name is Barry Bear. I am an experienced professional in sales strategy and operations. Work in technology and healthcare primarily. Currently, I'm consulting, but really looking to get back into a growth company.
Okay, great. Well, it's good to have you back.
Thanks.
Okay,
Howard.
is Beatrice in? Okay, Kenneth Cohn.
Thank you, Howard. I am the famous IT security cop. Keep the bad guys out, the good guys in. I am looking for a position in a similar industry from anywhere from New York City up to Hartford, anything west to the Paramus area, and even down to Bedminster. My target companies are, as I came out of Viacom CBS, would be NBC Sports in Stamford. NBC Universal has a big tech center down in New Jersey. And thank you again for hosting the session, Howard.
Well, thank you all for attending because we're doing this all together. Valerie. You're muted, Valerie.
Sorry. I'm Valerie Connor. I'm looking for a position in accounting and/or data management in Fairfield County. And that's it.
Okay, well, welcome back.
Thank you.
Craig.
Craig Cunningham, Human Resources Leader, Business Partner. Looking for an opportunity within the state of Connecticut or Massachusetts, preferably consumer products or manufacturing. I'm looking for the #1 role in an organization of up to about 5,000 employees. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, Norman.
Yes, I'm trying to, okay. Good morning, Norm Eagle, and as Howard said, that's Eagle like the bird. I am a computer software sales professional. Most recently, last 5 years, selling financial accounting software to banks and credit unions. So anybody needing any help with banks and credit unions, you let me know and I'll be glad to share my knowledge. Also looking to relocate to Austin, Texas. So again, anybody knowing anyone in Austin, Texas, please let me know. Any help I can provide, do not hesitate. Give me a holler. Thank you. Take care.
Hey, Norman.
Yes.
Check out builtinaustin.com.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Builtinaustin.com. I'm gonna send you the website.
Well, Built-in
Thank
is
you.
a national organization, and they have, Austin is one of the locations that they have a startup kind of site for.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, great. Greg Ilal. We'll come back to him. He is here. Garney.
Sorry, Howard.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Yes, I am here. Hi, folks. My name is Greg Elal. I'm in marketing. I lead cross-functional teams to develop marketing campaigns, new product development and launches. And I also do product management, both as a sole contributor and also leader of teams. So thank you.
Great. Well, welcome to the group. Garney.
Hi, Howard. I'm Garney. I've been laid off from a small business. I've been doing general operations, some marketing, some customer service, some account management, AP, AR, and looking for. I have a bachelor's in political science and a master's in politics with substantial business and finance coursework. I'm a candidate for the CFA Level 1 exam, which I'll be taking December 2020, and also I'm ideally seeking a position in investor relations or venture capital.
Okay, well, welcome to the group. We're glad you could make it. Stasi.
Hi, good morning, Howard. Good morning, everyone. My name is Stasi Haropoulos, literally finding a quiet corner of the house since everyone's asleep. I am interested in corporate communications, specifically internal communications, but corporate communications in general, helping management get their messages to the rank and file throughout the company in very inventive and creative ways, videos, articles, emails, just all kinds of fun ways. I'm looking in the Hartford area, Springfield area, Worcester area. Got some real great accomplishments I can talk about during an interview. So again, Stasi Haropoulos, corporate communications, content production as well. Good luck to everyone. Hope you enjoy the week.
Okay, thank you. And to you too.
Thank you.
Scott Hopper.
Hi, Howard, and everyone else this morning. I'm a customer success and support leader who, through curiosity, empathy, and grit, enjoys working with enterprise and strategic customers to deliver positive business outcomes.
Okay, great, great. Thank you for that, and thank you for all that you do for the group. Okay, Scott is our expert on Slack and has been encouraging us to move along in that direction. Ken Innocenzi.
Morning, everyone. I'm Ken Innocenzi from Northwood, Connecticut. I'm a bank operations manager, including compliance officer, privacy officer, bank secrecy act officer, and I also handle vendor management. And I'm looking for a similar role in a community bank or a credit union in Connecticut. Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you. Alicia Kennedy.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. I'm Alicia Kennedy with Ace the Interview, and I help motivated professionals find and land their dream jobs. So whether you're transitioning industries or returning to the workforce after a long time, or are a career executive and need to find a new opportunity, I help people strengthen their job search and interview skills. And I'm excited to hear Budley's presentation today, not only for my own business, but for my clients too.
Okay, great. Well, welcome. Russell.
Yes, Russell Kenny, multilingual professional, lived overseas in particularly China and Korea, and speak both languages fluently. And military background, U.S. Navy Reserve, and marketing background, as well as I'm looking to go into the renewable energy industry.
Okay, great. Okay, Rosemary.
Good morning. My name is Rosemary Massage. I'm looking for a product manager position similar to the one I had at Timex, where I can be creative, research industry trends, analyze skills, and develop merchandising and market products. I'm a product champion who focuses on SKUs, innovative management, creative marketing promotions, and positively impacts bottom line. I'm looking in the Fairfield, New Haven counties, and will go as far as Hartford for the right role. Thank you, Howard.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Rajiv.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. My name is Rajiv Menon. I'm a financial planning and analysis manager with a strong business acumen who has a curiosity for numbers. I can help you speak the language of business rather than that of the numbers. I will help build trust and gain the respect of your business stakeholders. Again, my name is Rajiv Menon. I'm looking for FP&A management position, and it's a pleasure meeting all of you on Mondays the 7th. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So let's see, Andrea Mulster, are you available?
Hey, Howard, sorry, yeah, sure, I have to jump on a call at 8:30, but I'll make it quick. Andrea Mulster. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you all. My background is employee benefits, total rewards, been in the field for 20 years, and I was previously with Odyssey Logistics, and prior to that, I was with Avangrid. So looking for roles in similar size organizations, you know, a few thousand, preferably be in a total rewards team, but, you know, would enjoy a smaller company working directly for a director of HR. But again, predominantly benefits, total rewards focused. Nice to meet you all. Nice to see you.
Okay.
Thanks,
nice
Howard.
to see you as well.
Okay.
Cheryl Paget. Cheryl is new to our group. Welcome.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Thank you. My name is Cheryl Paget, and I'm a business analyst, currently looking for similar roles. I have experience in the financial services and insurance industries, and basically concentrating on the greater Hartford area. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Tim Rogers.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tim Rogers. I'm an accomplished frontline fundraiser with an established track record of exceeding major gift and planned giving revenue goals. I've raised 6- and 7-figure donations through developing and maintaining long-term donor relationships based on trust. I'm highly effective at engaging with trustees and other volunteers, and I have capital campaign experience. I'm looking to move into a not-for-profit in the metropolitan New York area, and I'm also willing to relocate. I'm seeing a lot of activity in Boston right now, so I've got an opportunity there that I'm following up on, and look forward to getting back in the saddle. And I'm also a veteran like Russ, although for me it's the divorce wars, it's not combat, traditional combat.
Okay, welcome. Eric Scholl.
Hi, hello everyone. I'm Eric Scholl, live in Fairfield, Connecticut, and I'm a Senior Director of Marketing Procurement. Over the past 10, 15 years, I've worked in marketing production outsourcing firms that purchase and strategically manage the print and promotional merchandise for Fortune 500 firms. And I'm looking to stay in the Fairfield and New Haven County areas. Thank you.
Okay, great. Edie Sung.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Hi, I'm a governance risk and compliance professional, that's GRC, and I deliver a more secure future for companies. I have a blend of experience in IT audit, in risk management, operational functions, and also have experience in the Big Four consulting firms, leading teams globally and often remotely for financial services firms. I believe that my IT literacy and broad experience at managing risk at the front lines, as well as an independent auditor, verifying that the controls are adequate, gives today's tech-driven regulated companies that are really fast-paced the ability to excuse me, benefit from my skills. I provide an objective opinion, and I do find common ground for actions that will help these companies meet their legal requirements, as well as plan ahead for what could go wrong. I'm based in Southern Connecticut, so looking for something that's anywhere in Connecticut, Westchester County, or New York City, but also remotely. I can work from anywhere, and I've done so most of my career managing virtual teams successfully. I would love to serve as a risk and controls SME for any company, any firm, any size, in a project role, program role, or a permanent role. I'm glad to be here, and please, everybody, please contact me if you need my help for anything.
Okay, great. Mary Beth.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Mary Beth Squidscable. I'm a finance professional. I spent the last 14 to 15 years with General Electric, 10 of which were in GE Capital. I've done a variety of finance roles. I am currently looking to join either corporate banking or even make a segue into nonprofit. My search is in Fairfield County and New Haven County. Any questions, please reach out. Thank you.
Okay. Andrea Wolfert.
Good morning. Good to see everyone. I guess it's been about a week or so that we skipped. My name's Andrea Wolfert, and I'm a treasury management sales consultant. I have worked with many banks, very large, B of A, Chase, and also very small. And what I do is help clients, companies, manage their banking functions like online banking, helping them to receive their collectibles quickly, slow down disbursement, actually give them information that the banks have in services and products. Looking for a position in New York City, Connecticut, New Jersey, looking for a bank, credit union, or any financial institution that can benefit from the experience that I've had. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. So is there anyone that we missed or who came in a little bit late and we can talk about them now?
I did.
Diane, okay. Please.
Yes, hi, I'm Sonia Jolly, and I was
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Sonia Jolly. I was previously working as an analyst for Consumer Insights Trade Marketing Company, and I'm interested in continuing a career and looking for data analyst, marketing analyst, as well as market research analyst positions. My geographic areas so far, Fairfield County, maybe later to Westchester County or New York City. Anyone know of any? I'm looking, that's my search is going. And anyone who knows anyone in any of the marketing research or consumer packaged goods companies, feel free to email me at my email address or call me.
What your contact is.
Huh?
Oh, your contact. Do you have your contact in the?
I did.
Okay,
I
good.
put my email in, I think.
Good.
Okay, yeah, sorry I missed you there. I see Diane Costello made it. So Diane? You're muted. Still muted. Can we, I think we can unmute you. Yes, go ahead.
I got it. I'm Diane Costello, and I've been in finance my whole career. I was with investor relations for 12 years with Citigroup, and then JP Morgan and Bank of New York. And I'm looking for a position in finance. I'm an administrative assistant, executive assistant. And I want to thank Mary Beth. She gave me a wonderful lead for New Canaan, but I really would like to go back to New York City. But I did apply to the job. It was for the Board of Education, working for the Director of Finance. So I filled out the 12-page application. And so, and there was something else I saw on TV. I saw Brad Smith, I guess. Everybody probably must know who he is. I did not. He's the president of Microsoft, and he talked about opportunity.linkedin.com. If you go there, could take a refresher course in several areas in computer science, and they'll test you, and they'll give you they'll find you a job, and they'll give you I guess a diploma saying you did it. So I went in and it's for real. So that's opportunity.linkedin.com. It was simple. So I'm very happy to see you all, actually.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing that, and we're happy to see you as well.
Thank
and
you.
I see that Ed McNamara has joined us. Good morning.
Good morning, Howard. Good morning, group. I am a former general counsel with, I think, an unusually versatile background. I had many years at one of the big firms in the city doing transactional work, and was then with a fund up here in Connecticut. We grew to over $1 billion, and we're attached to a flagship fund of over $5 billion. And in my naivete, I thought that was big enough to survive the 2008 financial crisis, but it wasn't. So after that, I was general counsel of another startup. This was an operating company, so I'm looking for opportunities with asset managers, financial services companies, or operating companies in a senior legal role. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Once again, is there anyone who came in? Gene. Yes.
That's all right, Howard. I was late to the game anyway. Hi, my name's Gene Keene. I'm from South Windsor, Connecticut. I'm an IT technologist skilled in product ownership, product management, and desktop virtualization solutions. I have a lot of projects that have been completed in the remote workforce arena. I would think in this time frame, I would be a golden nugget, but it's not happening for me. I am looking in the Hartford and Springfield greater areas for a position, traditionally or most likely the insurance areas or insurance companies. I have experience in insurance, finance, and manufacturing, as well as healthcare. My last position was with United Healthcare in the Optum end, or the IT technology of United Healthcare. And I want to thank Howard for this session and getting me in a little late with a little confusion.
Okay, well, I'm glad we got you in. So anybody else? Okay, then. Any questions before we start? Any comments? Okay, so you have no idea how I think that this talk is very timely. I try to do my best to keep my systems and equipment running as best as possible. I do lots of, I use a lot of software to diagnose things. But I just have found, maybe over the last couple of weeks, that everything is slower and everything is fighting and everything is, I get into non-response, okay? It kind of makes one pull their hair out, but right now I've got mine kind of glued down, so I look rather horrible if I try to pull it back out. So I'm not going to do that for you guys. So we're very fortunate in having Budley Freund come and speak with us about home tech safety tips and to explain so in plain English. So I sent out a bio. Budley has been self-employed for over 40 years. After graduating from Ithaca College, his national and international photography assignments were from corporate, magazine, and public relations clients. He migrated into digital imaging and has been providing IT solutions to homes and small businesses for over 20 years. He currently teaches technology life skills at King's School and manages the Bicultural Hebrew Academy Network. As a certified SCORE mentor, he regularly presents technology webinars. His workshops have been run at libraries throughout Fairfield County and more recently online. I have seen postings for Bud's talks on SCORE, and I may even have attended once or twice. So Bud comes to us on the recommendation of Cliff Enico. Cliff is a frequent speaker at Mondays at 7. So without further ado, we need for Budley to, at least I need for Budley to straighten me out so that I don't have so much anxiety getting on my laptop.
Good morning, all, and thank you for joining me, us. Nice to know that there are computer people in the audience to keep me honest. So one of the things that I work very hard at in doing my presentations is making sure that this stuff is understandable, because as many of you know, we can get into acronyms and more deep in the weeds than you'd really like to be. So as I go along, please ask questions. The important thing here is to leave with information that you understand. And understand right now, we are in a particularly unusual time, which is part of why Howard wanted me to speak with you. And unfortunately, we're also in a period of time where we are susceptible to a lot of problems, either because we're distracted as our kids are tugging at our shirt sleeves, we're juggling our home lives as well as our work lives. We're getting involved in too many things simultaneously. And unfortunately, a lot of the problems that we're experiencing are not because of the machines, but unfortunately because of us. I do a lot of reading, and you will see this. Please try to be smarter than the people trying to outsmart you. I'm going to say that a number of times. I read a lot of publications, as I said, because it's very important to get a broad amount of information. And what I do in my teaching is to try and integrate both the educational and sociological aspects of what these computers are doing to us, with us, and for us. So those are the 5 items that I'm going to be talking about. And I want to start by painting a quick picture for you. If you are in your car and you have a passenger and you see that symbol go on your dashboard and you do nothing, my question is, are you going to steer while your passenger pushes? Or are you going to push while your passenger is steering? Because I can tell you without question, if you do nothing, you will have a problem. Similarly, when you start to see those little red circles light up on your devices, it is time to do something, because there are 80,000 doors into and out of a computer, and if you don't plug them up as the opportunity comes along, you are inviting a problem. Let me put it a little differently. Once upon a time, cars didn't have bumpers, and then they got seat belts, and then they got airbags. And each of these features were put into cars to make it a safer experience. With that in mind, I hope you will find a sweet spot somewhere between doing absolutely nothing on your computer and total paranoia. And it will be different for everybody. And it also kind of gets to that point of observing the speed limit signs, but not paying attention to them. We can't do that anymore, because unfortunately, it's really important that when updates are available, you download them and you patch your computers, your mobile devices, all of these machines that we're using regularly. So I refer to all of these things now as the everything thing, because it really is everything. It's communication, written, visual, verbal. It's banking, billing, investing. It's research, recreation, shopping, and obviously today it's education. Now, part of the care and feeding of these machines is to know what's going into them and where they're going to take you. And that little square thing with the dots there is called a QR code. And I don't know any human being who can read that. So you don't know where it's going to take you or what it's going to do without some sort of a scan and then doing some sort of an assessment of that website. Similarly, Bitleys are a method of taking very long URLs, making them very short, but again, you don't really know where it's going to take you unless you go to that checkshorturl.com, which is a website that would allow you to type in a Bitly, and it will expand to tell you where you are going to be getting, or where you're going to be going. So we're all living this online life. And the best example I can give you is that if you've got something the size of your fist running all of the stuff inside of your house, and then you've got that tiny little connection taking you out to the internet, the fastest you can get out to the internet is the width of that connection. Now, I'm down in Southern Connecticut, and Optimum offers 4 levels of service. The base level is 100 megabits per second. Level 2 is an additional $10, gets it twice as fast. Level 3 and level 4. However, it's important to understand that while Optimum will give you that speed from your wall out, you also need to do work inside of your 4 walls to be able to take advantage of those greater speeds. The 2 Bitleys down below are to a Washington Post and New York Times article that will give you a greater depth of information on how these things work. want to do a very brief discussion of both wired and wireless routers and what's inside of your four walls. I have a mesh network in my house. The easiest way to think of it is it's overlapping bubbles. So regardless of where you are in the house, if the bubbles overlap, you stay online and your wireless service stays pretty consistent. Whether you are wired or wireless, so far I haven't heard any objections from my IT people. I think they would also agree that wired networks are faster, safer, and more stable. They're also substantially easier to fix because you can touch something. With a wireless network, if something's broken, you're pretty much grabbing air, so the repair becomes a little bit more difficult or a little harder to track down. For those of you who have kids in your family and need to do some management of internet, the fancier the router you purchase, the more capabilities under the hood you will be able to get. You can say your child's computer, your child's tablet cannot go out to the internet after a particular time. These are all the under the hood controls that you can get in various routers. The router that I have uses a mobile device app, and it managed to tell me that in cleaning up one of the rooms, one of my mesh network devices was unplugged. We tracked it down, plugged it back in, got back to life. When it comes to the hardware, the computer that you're actually working on to go out to the internet, obviously newer is going to be faster and better in many respects. Windows 10 is the default operating system today on the Microsoft side. I think on the Macintosh side, I never keep track of the names. I think it's up to about 10.5 right now. The other consideration for those of you who are watching your budgets, refurbished computers are very reasonably priced, and Ubuntu at ubuntu.com is a free operating system that you can download and install onto a computer. It's Linux. It will get you out to the internet. It is a different language from Windows, making it less susceptible to Windows viruses and garbage. They work really well. I use them at the school that I manage the network because I can lock a unit down pretty well so that kids can get out to websites, filtered websites through a Chrome browser. And it's a very inexpensive way of getting a safer machine into your network. Another bandwidth item, just for note, this was a fellow I was working with for remote teaching. Zoom, and we'll talk a little more in detail further in, Zoom will let you know when you're not broadcasting well, and it will tell you that your signal outbound is also pretty weak. That's the red bars in the bottom. And as I'm sure you know, many people are moving out of New York and coming to Connecticut. If you know realtors, please let them know that getting good internet throughout a house is going to be a whole lot different than getting good Wi-Fi in an apartment. It's a bigger space. You got to deal with it differently. Also for parents, that bit.ly will take you to a bibliography that I've been building for a number of years. There's about 140 articles on it, all of which have two things in common. The first is that each article addresses some aspect of the risks and dangers of minors and technology. And the other aspect of all 140 articles is that none of them make that statement that a minor cannot enter into a legally binding contract, only their parent or guardian, which puts the liability of their behavior pretty much on our shoulders. And if you're going to downplay that, understand that if you have a party at your house and there's underage drinking and there's a problem, you could go to jail for 10 years. And also understand that in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, they are now starting to take this notion of bullying online very seriously. So I want to talk to you about the data, that stuff that we all create, the documents, the spreadsheets, the PowerPoints, the music, the photographs, those things that we create, not the apps that create the stuff, but the actual stuff that we make, the content. And I'm a very big believer in what's known as the 3211 backup, which goes like this. Put your data in 3 different places, 2 different media, one of them off-site and one of them offline. Let me walk you through it. 3 different places. The computer that creates the Word document is one place. A second place would be an external hard drive or a thumb drive or a CD that you put that data onto as well. One of them off-site would be the Mozy or Carbonite or Datto, which are online services that allow you to have a backup that is not within your home. And that fourth one is where most people really don't, unfortunately, do the work. So that offline backup, whether it's Time Machine on a Macintosh or File History in Windows 10, if you plug in your backup into your computer, you do your backup and then you unplug that device so it is no longer connected to your network in any fashion. If you have a problem, you will be able to plug in that backup of your data and get a righteous copy restored. Also, it is important to understand that services like Dropbox and OneDrive and Google Drive, I do not consider those to be backups. They are online access. In other words, if you have a laptop that has a problem and that problem goes into a file that's located in Dropbox, it is going to travel through any other device that is connected to Dropbox. So a backup is separate from the Dropbox, the OneDrive, and the Google Drive. When it comes to antivirus, I'm a very big fan of a product called Bitdefender. They do offer a free for home use service. Bitdefender a couple of years ago at the Consumer Electronics Show was given positive write-ups in the New York Times twice in 1 week, highly unprecedented. One of the things that I find highly beneficial about Bitdefender is that the work of watching out for your computer is not done on your computer. The work of Bitdefender is done online. And there's really just like a proxy on your computer that's letting stuff filter through, go up to Bitdefender Central, and then continue on. But understand that antivirus is not going to replace your being cautious, and we'll go through a few things in just a moment. And again, you're going to see a few times along the way, click first, regret later. Slow down, folks. Read where stuff is coming from. Hover over things to see who sent it to you. Another item that I'm a very big fan of is this ridiculously named Super Anti-Spyware. I do not recommend getting 69,000 instances of garbage on your computer. I'd clean it up before then. Some people do not take as good care of their machines as other people. When you accumulate too many newspapers, you should take them out to the garbage. At some point in time, just clean it up. Passwords, everywhere and on everything, because those who do not have passwords are what's considered low-hanging fruit. And if you have multiple users on the computers in your home, please be sure that your kids can't get onto your work stuff and vice versa. Although if you are an administrator, you should be able to get into anything that is on the computer, whether it's you or your kids. Also, if you're doing banking or finance online, whether you call it multi-factor authentication, two-factor authentication, two-step authentication, or two-step authentication. That's where you log into your bank. The bank sends a number to your phone. You've got to put in that second number before they let you through the door. And yes, it will slow down how you get your work done. And yes, you are welcome to blame me that you can't get your work done fast enough. But I think you'll be a little bit safer in regards to that information and what you consider to be important. I want to also introduce, if you're not familiar with it, something called the LEET language, short for ELITE, which is a really simple way of transposing words into letters and capital letters and symbols, so that my wife and I have LEET language passwords on the computer in the kitchen. And when my kids were younger, we would be able to say porcupine, and my kids could look it up in the dictionary, type that word in as many times as they wanted, and nothing was going to happen because we had transposed the I's into ones and the letter O into a zero. It's a great working system and very easy for remembering, a simple mnemonic for remembering passwords. I've also been told in readings that if you want to combine a person, place, or thing, as in that bottom line, that also will help you to produce a bulletproof password. Just do yourself a favor and don't put it there. That is not where passwords should be. Passwords are something that should not be visible. This is where things called social engineering would come into play, and somebody can look over your shoulder and write down your password, and it's not going to help your cause. 500 years before Christ was born, Sun Tzu was a Chinese general who wrote a book called The Art of War, and the quote, "Keep your friends close and your enemies closer," has lasted a very long time. The addition at the bottom, I'm not sure he put that into The Art of War, but I think you get the general idea of what's going on. Our passwords are no different than the keys to our car or the keys to our house. Proceed cautiously with who you give them to and where you keep them. For those of you who have a personal assistants in your house, understand that they are recording everything, and you may want to delete that information if you are doing any sort of business, particularly for attorneys. So on the left there is the recounting of how you're able to delete all of that information that's inside of Alexa and being recorded. If you've got a website or a personal website or a business website, that's also something to not set and forget. I'm pretty sure that this naturopathic doctor is not trying to monetize porn. He just didn't check his website on a very regular basis to see that somebody had hacked in and put a page in that really shouldn't be there. Keep an eye on this stuff that you put online. It's very important these days. If email is the lifeblood of your business, I urge you to invest in your business. And I am a very big advocate of Microsoft hosted Exchange as that method. And there are many different companies that offer it now as a service. It will give you a backup of all of your emails online. So if you have a problem with a computer, a tablet, or a smartphone, you can delete the account, reconnect the account, and everything living online will come back down. Your calendar will come back down. Your contacts will come back down. I've done this for numerous clients. It makes me look like I walk on water. The other thing that I would urge you to consider doing these days is if you have a very large group of people that you are doing communications with, please consider using the BCC field, because when you keep all of those names out, and I'll talk about this a little more coming up, all we're doing when we show all of those names is putting all of these other people at risk. because the accumulation of email addresses is just more opportunity for spam. And as I said earlier, if you go slowly and hover over emails and hover over URL links, you'll see where they're going to take you before you click first and regret later. One of the other things I recommend is that if you're getting far too many emails and you want to unsubscribe, rather than doing it from a Windows computer, I recommend doing it from a tablet or a mobile device, because the susceptibility to viruses and spamming and ransomware is minimized. It doesn't go away. But if you unsubscribe from a computer, there is the possibility that you'll run into trouble. If you unsubscribe from your phone, particularly in the Apple world, they keep a pretty clean sandbox. You'll be able to unsubscribe and not have to worry about whether that link is going to take you to some place of danger or risk. If you remember the 6 degrees of separation, I know somebody, we each know somebody else, there's somebody else farther out on the ring, and the farther and farther out the ring you go, you don't know who those people are. And those people at that 6th degree are where, because you don't know, is it a good guy or a bad guy? I don't know. But if I use a BCC for my group emails, that person at the 6th degree is not going to be getting everybody else's email address. A few quick examples. This was something a client got from Microsoft, but there's no Microsoft logo, and I would not recommend clicking on that button, because if you did, in a politically correct phrase, you would probably be screwed. Similarly, I know for a fact that FedEx does not need to use support@dentistelmhurstny.com as their email address, because they've got FedEx for their email address. So again, a really bad button to click on. Go slowly, read your emails before you click first and regret later. This is now my favorite spam email, because it came to me personally from Christopher Wray, the director of the FBI, who was using his Polish email service to tell me that there is $1.5 million waiting for me if I email to the only Western Union post office in California using a Gmail address. This is one of those things that you just put in the garbage. Have I mentioned this click first, regret later concept? Because I keep thinking it's a really important thing to keep in mind. This is another place where we can find ourselves getting into trouble really quickly. And this is one of the better builds I've done in a while to try and explain that information that we're getting online. Now, that 86% of information includes the, what have you heard about that restaurant downtown? It includes, what's the best flat screen television? It also includes, what do you know about an electrician who can come into my house to put in a couple of cans in the ceiling? All of that's in that 86% of information and research. Now I want to juxtapose that across from the fact that approximately 1/3 of the information that you might be getting on Facebook could be bogus. And what does that mean in terms of the information? Well, it could be somebody who was hired to write a review on a product. It could be somebody who's trying to trash a business. And I have been told by a number of different people that if you get a bad review on Yelp, the only way you are going to be able to make it go away is if you buy into Yelp advertising. Otherwise, there's very little you're going to be able to do to get rid of a bad review on Yelp. So, what are people saying about websites in the future? Really important to build trust with the people that you're trying to connect with. Now, when it comes to the information we're getting, I found this to be a really useful benchmark for the services that are providing the information. And this is an earlier version. The woman who created it was an attorney who has subsequently started this business, Ad Fontes Media, and she's now using an algorithm to track the information from various news services. So we need to proceed cautiously in the information that we get, because if we transmit that information, it may not be accurate. For example, if the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and the Washington Post tell you that California is shutting down, it's a pretty safe bet that California was shutting down. Similarly, if Apple, Facebook, YouTube, which is a subsidiary of Google, are all telling you that InfoWars is giving you bad news, it's a pretty safe bet that they're giving bad news. And I think it's Section 230 of the Federal Communications Code, which absolves these internet platforms from any liability that they might receive from the information posted by InfoWars, and yet they still decided to take this down. This was another smaller example of somebody working really hard to get the information out that's important for people to know. The date is significant because that was just October of last year. However, unfortunately, that building hasn't been used by Pitney Bowes for over a year because now it's Westover Elementary School, which is getting mold remediation, and they moved all the kids over to the Pitney Bowes building. So the news is changing constantly. It's changing rapidly. Stay on top of it. It's an ever-changing world that we're in. And a few things on how to get the internet to stop following you, which, as we know, it is following you. That Washington Post article is by a guy named Greg Fowler, and to put it simply, he writes it, I read it. He's that good. It will explain to you that if you go into your Facebook settings and you turn off that future Facebook activity, you will be able to curtail a lot of the advertising that is being targeted at you. For Google, if you go into your Gmail account, go to myactivity.google.com, you can turn off the advertising. And don't worry about that sad little computer down there. He's got a couple of billion other people that he can be poking at. But if you don't want them tracking you, you can turn it off here. You can also go into the activity controls and you can turn it off for YouTube as well as for all of your web activity. And the third place I recommend you go to is aboutads.info. You go to the consumer tab, go to the consumer choice page, and when you go to that page, they will shut down for you the pop-up ads coming from 134 legitimate online web advertisers. That isn't everybody, but that's a really healthy collection of stuff that can be shut down. And understand that all of this stuff that we're doing online is referred to in law enforcement as your digital footprint. And while you may think that deleting it on your computer is the end of the process, if you go to OptOnline, Comcast, Verizon, AT&T, they are required by law to keep track of the information that you run through them. So all of this stuff is traceable. It would require a lawyer's letter, but it's all traceable. I think I did mention this before. So a little bit about Zoom, because as we know, it does set people's hair on fire. And what's important to understand, aside from all of the Zoom bashing, back in, I believe it was late February, Zoom did publish an article about how to lock down your Zoom account. Unfortunately, it was so easy to do Zoom, and there was no requirement for you to either, you must read this before you use it, I've done this certification, you have to look at this page and click agree. There was none of that. So people jumped on Zoom, had their problems, blamed Zoom for the fact that they didn't do any homework, and just a few things that you may want to consider doing for yourself when you're in a Zoom conference. One of them being not using your full name, because that obviously is traceable. If you have a Zoom account, you get a unique Zoom ID, which you may want to share with 2 or 3 personal friends, but the regular use of your Zoom webinar ID is probably not the best thing to do to the general public. And if you go into zoom.us and go to the settings and then go to turn off annotate, people will not be able to put disparaging comments into the presentations that you're doing. So anyone who's ever done a presentation will tell you that there are 3 parts to it. Tell them what you're going to tell them, and tell them what you told them, also known as the recap, which means we are getting very close to the end. So as I said, safeguard your stuff, folks. Do your backups. Watch where you're clicking. Invest in your email, because while Gmail works, I'm not going to tell you it doesn't work. If you have a problem with Gmail and you are not paying for the service, you are on your own in trying to find the solution. And of course, watch out. There are people out there who are not providing the useful information, but trying to take your information. This page has a collection of other webinars on technology that you may find interesting or useful. And that's me. I look for 3 things. I look obviously for small business clients. Those are people that I've been helping for many, many years. I'm looking for other speaking opportunities, because I think there are people who could really use a little bit more help than they want to admit to. And the third thing I'm looking for, come along. There we are. I've been making these images on my smartphone for a couple of years, and I'm still looking for a home for them. So I'm open to suggestions from anybody who might know of a place where they could go. And if you want to look at more of them, oops, that was not what I wanted to do. Previous, there we are. So, are there any questions that I can answer for anyone? Sure.
Yes, as Russell, I along those lines, I think it's actually a good parallel thing. I've been getting a lot of ads for, well, I don't know if there are ads or what they are, a lot of things for jobs. All of a sudden have just blasted, like Wells Fargo is interested in your application. I never applied to them. And amongst many, many other things. And I'm wondering whether, I haven't opened them, and I'm wondering if they're real, what to do, because again, all our time is precious.
2 answers on that. First of all, if you hover over a link, you will be able to see at the very beginning of the link whether it's from wellsfargo.com or not. And that hovering becomes really important. Don't click, just put your mouse over the link and it will tell you where it's coming from. As I listed at the very beginning, unfortunately for the job market right now, there are many people who are trying to prey on that, and proceed cautiously, please.
Yes.
Bud?
Yeah.
I'm in sales, And I've started to get probably 10, maybe even more emails a day from these people with a name telling me I've earned these sales commissions. And as I said, being in sales, I know if I don't work on something, I'm not earning a commission. How do I get rid of these son of a, pardon my language?
Yeah.
It's at least 10 or 15 a day, and I don't click on them because I think I may have clicked on one 6 months ago, and maybe that's what caused it to start. How do I get rid of them?
Unfortunately, I can't give you a great answer to that because, as I was saying, that's where the BCC thing comes in. And I know of people in technology, in internet security, who will send out an email with 20 people in the to field. I don't refer them because if you're in IT and you're putting 20 names into the to field, all you're doing is inviting for you, Norman, to get another one of these bogus sales commission reports. It's not what you're doing. Unfortunately, it's what other people have done to you. The solution you can consider is to create a new email address, and you can use that new email address as the righteous email address for the bona fide leads and work that you're doing. If you're in Gmail, you can forward to the new email address. You can only give out that new email address to the people who you really want to hear from. But for many of us, stuff has gone out and there's no way, once the genie's out of the bottle, there's very little you can do. However, and again, this is not something you can do in Gmail, but when you get into Microsoft Hosted Exchange, which requires you to have a domain name, xyz.com, isellsoftware.com, whatever it might be, depending upon the Microsoft Hosted Exchange service that you sign on with, they can do really robust lockdown.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Stump the professor time.
Hey, buddy, this is Rajiv. I have a question.
Sure.
Now, a lot of us get emails that are bogus, right?
Yep.
Just opening that, is that unsafe, or should we just not even open it? If you open it but not respond it, or what is the proper protocol?
My recommendation would be, if you don't know them or you don't think it looks righteous, I would just delete it. If you use either a tablet or a mobile device and it's configured properly, you will be able to get not only the subject item, but a bit of the first sentence, and generally, and again, depending upon the service that you use, some things will immediately go into junk. I know that anything that's offering me Ukrainian women is probably nothing I'm going to be opening because A, I'm married, and B, I haven't gone looking for Ukrainian women recently.
Thank you.
Another question. You mentioned the images. What are you looking for us to find? You said a new home, but like, where are you thinking?
Well, put it this way. On the technology side, the image you're looking at is large enough to produce on paper 3 feet by 4 feet. It can reproduce onto plates. It can reproduce onto fabric. It can reproduce pretty much anywhere in the world of digital. And at the 3 foot by 4 foot file size, I haven't found any designers or manufacturers who would have an interest, and I'm not sure why, but I do have a hashtag on Instagram, which is Equivalence by Budley, EQUIVALENTS, Equivalence by Budley. And I regularly post up there, so there is an ongoing portfolio.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Howard.
Okay. So a little while ago, you said something about Gmail. What was that again? Because I didn't quite catch what you meant.
Okay. There are a couple of different styles of mail. In the very early days of email, you would ask your post office, optonline.net, what email do I have? And it would come down to your computer, and you could either keep a copy online, or you could delete what's online and only have it on your computer. The evolution of that is now something called IMAP, where it's online, it's on your phone, it's on your tablet, and it doesn't matter where you reply from, you will be able to see that thread of information on all of your devices. So I could reply from the laptop I'm on here, I could be in my car, I could look on my phone, I could look through that full string of emails for the correspondence. However, in the world of Gmail, if you run into a problem, the only way you find a solution in Gmail, unless you are paying for the G Suite service, is to type into Google, my email is turning purple. And if Google hasn't written an article about Gmail turning purple, you are on your own. Whereas when you pay for an email service, I have people 24/7. If I have a problem with email, from 9 to 5, I get somebody in San Francisco or whatever feeder they're pushing out to. And from 5 to 9, my primary service location is St. Petersburg, Russia, where the people are absolutely outstanding in their service. Their English is textbook perfect, and they are as humorless as Mr. Chekhov. But the work that they do is absolutely fabulous. That is a company called Intermedia, and if that's something you have of interest, send me an email. I will very happily point you to somebody that I use to do that for your email.
Now, question, would that include, it would include like if I had extra space that I bought through like the Google Drive?
The email would have, first of all, to have email in Microsoft Hosted Exchange, requirement number 1 is that you must have a domain. Salesinfairfieldcounty.com, ilivein.boston.com. That's the first requirement for Hosted Exchange. And then once you own a domain, then you are able to use Microsoft Hosted Exchange as a service. Gmail does not require a domain name. It is free. And in my crystal ball, I predict a point in time in the future where companies who are becoming very concerned about hacking and ransomware will be very happy to outbound to your Gmail. But if you are, and this is not happening yet, I want to be very clear, it's not happening yet, but I foresee a point in time where companies will be getting inbound from free email services, and it is going to take you an extremely long time because they are going to filter with a high level of caution everything coming through the door because it puts their stuff and their data at risk.
Oh, so it's gonna become more user friendly, I see.
Well, not user friendly. It's going to be more user cautious. I'm happy to send to your Gmail. My going out to you is a non-issue, but you Gmail into me, I'm not sure I want to click on that because just as you heard from a previous question, I don't know who it was or where it came from.
Okay.
So, you know, something interesting. A few years ago, it was recommended to us that we get out of Yahoo and MSN and all these other things and open up Gmail accounts if for no other reason that it looks like we're more into the modern age and keeping up with changes in technology and in services and things like that. So are you suggesting maybe that that's maybe not the smartest idea in the world?
Well, you get what you pay for. And if something is free, you're the product. The other aspect of Gmail that Google was overlooking for a while until you started to read articles is that they were churning all of the emails that were coming through, not Howard or Bud specific, but they would see something with the word Nike, and the next thing you know, every web page that you go to has an advertisement from Nike or from Chevrolet. And
right, that's Google Analytics, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And at a point in time, they got caught on that, and they got questioned on that, and they were asked, "You may want to take a break from that." Now they can claim that they're not, but if you aren't turning off stuff so that Google the Google computer isn't watching you, they're watching where you go, they're watching what you do, and they are selling that data to advertisers.
Unless you do all the above, like what you're suggesting.
That's correct.
Thank you.
That's correct.
But I heard something really interesting from your discussion this morning, that it is safer to unsubscribe through the phone rather than a laptop. That's very interesting information. So does it mean that it's safer to do a lot of stuff through the phone rather than your computer besides unsubscribing? And if it is, what other stuff is better to do through phone than computer?
Great question. If you are on an Apple device, as I said earlier, they keep a really clean sandbox. So the unsubscribing from Apple, and there's a lot of garbage on Apple computers as well, don't get me wrong, but I think you're safer from a mobile device than from your Windows computer. What other items? I do a fair amount of research, and I use as a browser DuckDuckGo. And the reason I use DuckDuckGo is because they have very clearly stated they're not tracking me. I don't know how they're making any money or who's paying for them, but DuckDuckGo as a search engine, and they also have a browser, that's pretty safe. On the computer end of life, there is a browser called Brave, B-R-A-V-E, and it's a red lion head. Brave.com is also claiming to not track. However, as you're doing your setup, and they will pull your bookmarks from your other browsers, they will allow you to pick a search engine. At the very last item that Brave does is to say, do you want to get Brave points for using the browser? Now think about this for just a minute. In order for Brave to give me points for using the browser, it means that they have to be tracking me. So I don't use the Brave point system. I do use Brave. And actually, I bounce between multiple browsers these days. I'm a huge fan of Firefox, but there are a number of websites that are really wonky with Firefox. I use Chrome because you have to. I use Brave. I use DuckDuckGo. I will admit to not having used Microsoft Edge yet because it was force-fed to me, and I didn't use Internet Explorer or Explorer. So I don't have any one browser that I recommend. I think the add-ons for Firefox are fabulous. One of my favorite add-ons in Firefox is something called FlagFox, where they will tell you the country of origin of the server that you're connected to. In other words, if you go to facebook.com, you will see a flag of Ireland. If you go to citibank.com and you get the flag of Lithuania, don't give them your username and password. That's a really bad idea.
Very interesting, Dudley.
Anything else, anyone?
What about kind of the development market? A lot of courses that you may get on MOOCs such as Udemy, a lot of it requires you to download a lot of software. How do you protect
Truthfully,
yourself
I've never
that?
even heard of Udemy. I don't know that as a place. I am highly cautious of the software that I download. If you're going to be downloading, I like to ask other people before I download. One other thing which I neglected to mention earlier is that in looking at a product on Amazon, I generally do not read the 5-star reviews. I read the 1- and 2-star reviews, because those are people who are either going to show you the photograph of the USB charger that melted, or the product worked for 2 weeks and then they couldn't Bluetooth connect anymore. And that may be a 3-year-old review.
Your $500 commission statement, 30 minutes before.
So I look at the 1-star reviews on things before I make my purchases. I am not doing a whole lot of downloading of software packages these days. I'm pretty set in the Office 365, which, by the way, I am a huge fan of Office 365. They will, for $100 a year, they will keep your software up to date, plugging all of the holes as they find problems. They will give you a terabyte of storage online, which I defy you to fill. And the other thing that they do is that they give you 5 licenses so that you could put it on a laptop, a desktop, your kid's machine, and everybody can get the updates.
What do you think of something called LibreOffice?
LibreOffice, I use LibreOffice on my Ubuntu computer because that's what comes with it. It is a great free alternative. The only caveat being that when you do the setup, remember to change the default save, because it will save in their ODT format, which means that if you write a letter and you email it to somebody who's got Microsoft Word, you will get a phone call that says, I can't open your document.
ODT to, what is it, 2007?
Well, it's either .doc or .docx, but there's a place in the LibreOffice defaults where
Yes,
you
you
can
move it
set up
around.
the saves.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Anything else? Thanks for listening, folks. Any questions? Emails at the bottom. Feel free to send notes. Happy to continue conversations. I will unshare my screen so you can see Howard again and he can do a wrap up.
Thank you, buddy. That was great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Excellent.
Thank you.
So that was excellent and timely, and I think we are all so glad that you were able to take the time to come and enlighten us.
Thank you.
So we invite you to come next Monday.
Thank you.
When Donna Held will come and speak to us. She's a recruiter from the Westchester area. The title of her of the program is Ask a Recruiter. And we will introduce ourselves to her, and she will give a short talk perhaps, and then entertain questions that you have. So between now and then, perhaps you'll take some time to think about some of the questions that you might want to ask a recruiter. Russell.
Yeah, I know, are the slides, I saw in the chat questions about whether the slides would get shared.
As an MP4, yes, but I don't share my decks as a rule.
Okay. Isn't it? All right.
Okay, so
quick question. Oh, I'm sorry, Howard. Just to follow up on Russ. Budley, how about, I recognize you don't want to share all your work, but the links, the pages that you had, the links at the end, that would be very helpful.
I will get that out. That I will be able to forward out. Very happy to do that. Not
Awesome.
a problem.
Thank you.
That would be good. That would be good.
What I will do, Howard, is that I'll push that over to you because you've probably got your mail list and you can push it out to your team and your crew.
Sounds great. Okay, I will happily do that.
Budley, this is Craig Cunningham. I have a question. I do have an Amazon, whatchamacallit.
Yeah, him too. Yep.
And I'm just curious, can you provide some sage advice? I don't think it's on. I don't think it's listening. But can you provide some sage advice to ensure it's not? And if it has been, to tell me how to see if it has and how to get rid of whatever may be there?
Oh, well, that's two questions. The first way to be sure that it's not listening is to unplug it.
Okay.
And the way that you can find out if it's listening or not, I will also include that Alexa walkthrough steps, and mine just woke up when it heard its name. If you get the app onto your mobile device and you use your Amazon account, you will be able to see what it has, and it will show you as a written record.
And I assume you can delete that written record, correct?
That is correct. You go into the Alexa, the settings, Alexa history, and you just say delete everything from the beginning of time, please.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I had it when John Gotti visited me about 20 years ago, but I just want to make sure.
Okay.
Just
I was
kidding,
using
folks.
Jimmy Hoffa garbage bags this weekend in my garage. I understand.
Yeah, just kidding, folks. I don't want any knocks on my door.
All right. Thanks, Craig.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
I just want to say this is by far the most informative webinar I've heard. I mean, we have heard so many job interview stuff, but this brings everything close to heart. You know, we rely on technology so much. We take things for granted. You kind of opened our eyes. I got to be very careful with my emails, my passwords, and how I subscribe to things. And Budley, thank you so much. You know, I think all of us here learned something a lot from you.
Thank you very much.
This was great. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks for listening, folks.
Okay. Well, thank you for presenting.
All righty. And on that, are we done?
I think so, unless there are any last minute questions.
One last thing, folks. Stay healthy.
Yes.
You as well.
Thank you.
All righty.
Amen.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you.